How you doing? Jack, Colorado here. I'd like to talk to you about alliances and associations. And what brought this to mind with me is I just sort of ended an association. Wouldn't call it an alliance, but certainly it was an association. Through meetup.com, I found a local prepper group here, and this was back in January. Back in January of this year, 2011. And this group, we wanted to get together and talk about preparedness and gardening and homesteading techniques, and I thought it would be pretty interesting. But I always approach things like that, especially people like that you meet on the internet that you haven't got a chance to know. I approached it with a air of caution. So I I sort of staked out the place that we were to meet at, and about 2 people showed up, and I walked in and didn't really introduce myself and sort of observed them and watched them, and it took me 2 or 3 times where I'd stick my toe in the water with them. But the group sort of fell apart because the girl that organized it just wasn't organized. It might not have been all her fault. She had a young child, an infant child at the time, so it could be one of those things. But later on, or earlier in this year, another lady took over it, and she sent out emails to everybody that was on the mailing list. And so I missed the first meeting or 2 that they had, and decided when I saw they were having ample numbers of people showing up, I decided, okay, well, I'll go see what they're about. You probably know as well as I do, the one thing you're most afraid of is things like this attracting, wackos and Fruit Loops. So I go to the meeting, and it's an okay thing, somewhat unorganized. They're not good speakers. They don't know how to organize a meeting, set it up into blocks. It runs long. They ramble. But long story short, what it turned into, in my opinion, was a self-promotion for the lady that was running it, her and her friend, who were Shelf Reliance dealers. And they sold Thrive food and Shelf Reliance products, which are fantastic products. I think they're great products. And I'm all for people within the group, trade with your partners in the group and promote each other and stuff like that. I think that's great. But every single one of these meetings turned into somebody pitching something. I mean, one meeting we even had some guy there from a local raw milk dairy, and he got around the whole raw milk issue by you bought a share of his cow and you essentially paid him to milk your cow. And what it broke down to, it was $10 a gallon for milk. And was it fabulous milk? Oh gosh, yeah, it was. If you've ever had fresh raw milk, it's incredible. But you know what? It ain't worth $10 to me when I can buy it for $2.49 a gallon at Costco. I ain't paying $10 a gallon for milk. I don't care how wonderful or how valuable it is. But anyway, we started getting off track, and I just, interjected that and also things started going and it turned into an Alex Jones discussion group where everything in the world, everything was a conspiracy, and everybody's out to get you, and everybody's evil, and we just didn't mesh. I offered my services as a firearms instructor to the group, and so we can trade back and forth with things, and in the end I just pulled out. I cut all ties with them, and I just left because they were the group of Fruit Loops that I was afraid that they were going to be. So what I'm saying is approach your alliances or your acquaintanceships in this world with an air of caution, especially when you try to do meetups in local areas. None of us are going to completely agree with each other. We're not all going to agree with each other, of course not. My whole point with this group was, let's try to keep politics out of it, and let's talk about prepping. What are the things that we can do to prep, and how that works, and help those that don't know how to do it. And it just wasn't going in that direction. It wasn't going in that direction at all. So I thought I'd share my story with you, so maybe either help you avoid a bad situation, or at least be able to smell it when it starts to rot. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Have a happy new year if I don't see you.
nachos and hogwash.